Welcome back to the Quiet on Set podcast powered by Cineman. I'm Ewan Graff, and as always, I'm joined by Lachlan Teely.
Hello. I don't know. There's a lot of news about superhero movies this week, and I've got some news about Christopher Nolan, Norman Reedus, and a movie video game adaptation in the works from Kojima Productions.
Sounds exciting. The two of us also caught up with Rick and Morty Season 6, so we'll be talking about that. And then I think we both caught up with some 2022 releases that we missed. For me, most notably, that includes Minions 2, The Rise of Gru. Yes, I did watch that film.
Finally, Avatar, The Way of Water, the 3+ hour James Cameron epic cinematic sequel released this week. You and I both caught the film and have a lot to discuss.
So without further ado, let's get into the show and cue up that intro. We are professionals.
This is a professional podcast.
Yes. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Hello there. Which actually,
Did you
this
get
is
me
gonna
a
be
hat
a
as
bit,
well?
Yes.
So I've got Dooncam. It's just a camera with my Dune steelbook.
So welcome back, Lachlan. Like you said, there's a bunch of news coming from the superhero corner, specifically DC Studios. First up, I think the biggest revelation is that Henry Cavill won't be returning as Superman, but over on Amazon Studios, he's heading in the films and TV adaptations of Warhammer 4000. In other announcements from DC Studios, there's supposedly a whole bunch of unity going to be happening over there, where the TV, movies, comics, and games are all going to be streamlined in some shape or form by the heads of DC Studios, Peter Safran and James Gunn. There's also a few rumored stories that are still worth discussing, like James Gunn working on a Superman film that apparently he's been writing for a while now, that will focus on a younger Clark Kent. One of the reasons why Henry Cavill probably had to step away from the role. There's also Jason Momoa that said he's probably done with Aquaman, but maybe he will continue as another character, Lobo, in the future. So what we've seen with James Gunn is that he likes to work in his characters, even if there's crossover between different universes when it comes to like the comics with the MCU and DC. So that means maybe he'll take over some of the Guardians or whatever. We can see them in DC projects in the future. Batman is also going to be in the DCU, but definitely not the one from Matt Reeves. So that just extends the question, are we getting a new one in a couple of years? I know that the Batman 2 sequel is slated for 2024. What does that mean for this one? Because it probably wouldn't release until 2025 or 2026 with just the long time that it takes to make a movie like this. But it's all the stuff we're going to discuss from DC. There's even more, but Warner Brothers is just in the news each week for us. So let's just have them figure this out and hopefully come back with something really interesting. And lastly, my last news item today is that the Minari director Lee Isaac Chung is set to direct the Twister sequel, Twisters. I'm quite keen for this. I don't know why it needs him to do this, but I'm all for him doing this disaster action movie.
Christopher Nolan has said he has recreated the first nuclear weapon detonation without the use of CGI in Oppenheimer. That is a ridiculous statement to make from the man who is known to not use CGI unless he really, really needs to, like how he crashed a plane legitimately in his previous film. Going to be kind of exciting to see this on screen. I don't know about you, Ewan, but I'm always excited to see what Christopher Nolan does next. And since this is kind of like a biopic, I guess it's going to be exciting to see what he does around the use of
Christopher Nolan
bomb.
exploded a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, North Korea is jealous.
I've seen a whole bunch of memes surrounding this where people have just taking it. This is like extras on an Oppenheimer film and they just get blasted. That's pretty funny.
Not only did Oppenheimer get its first poster, so did Scream 6 and a first trailer, which is obviously going to be very popular right now with Jenna Ortega.
Definitely,
Freaking those fucking Wednesday views, am I right?
Yeah, it gave me some Final Destination 3 vibes where they're on that train. So
crazy,
on the subway.
Crazy. You love Final Destination. Death Stranding, a
name drop
video game, is getting a film adaptation in the works by the Barbarian executive producers working with Kojima Productions themselves. Very exciting to see this come on screen. Speaking of Death Stranding, though, Norman Reedus, the star of Death Stranding and a star of the Walking Dead TV series, has joined Ballerina, the John Wick spin-off series starring Ana de Armas. I'm a big fan of Norman Reedus. I don't know about you, Ewan. I've actually played Death Stranding, and I love that game, so I'm excited to see a film about
Hmm.
it. I wonder if he's
Yeah.
going to star in it or if it's going to be a whole new adaptation.
Yeah, not sure there. I like Norman Reedus as well, but I've just been a big fan of the Walking Dead series for the first couple of seasons. I know that it just wrapped, and I think he's still, spoiler alerts, alive by the end of that. So yeah, that's that. And he's probably going to continue doing that. I don't really know him outside of that too much, but yeah, really dig him in that
Boondock
performance.
Saints. You should go watch the Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints. Okay, well I'll put it onto my list.
Good.
Anyways, like you said, there's a trailer for Scream 2. There's also one for 65 with Adam Driver in a
Looks sick.
prehistoric. I haven't seen it yet. I'm saving it for the trailer watch later today. You can tune in each Sunday. I'm doing a live stream there on this channel. There was also a new trailer for Babylon and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, for that one, we did do a trailer reaction and discussion that I'll link right here. You can go check that out. We had some thoughts on the new trailer for Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. That's that. Nothing else in the news section, unless you want to discuss some of the DC news with Henry Cavill out as Superman. No thoughts on it there. Yeah, it's just, I think it's a bit disappointing.
I have
It's a bit
no
of a
interest.
miss. But, I mean, he's solid as an actor. I have no interest in that character continuing, if that makes sense. But yeah. That's that. So, Lachlan, without further ado, let's get to what we've been watching. So, first up, we both caught up with the 6th season of Rick and Morty. I think a year ago, we also already discussed season 5. That's how long the show has been running. We can go through each season as they come out. We also had a discussion about it a couple of weeks ago for the first 6 episodes of season 6. And now that the final 4 have dropped, Lachlan, I think you have only got to catch up with the last one. I just want to discuss this season. Overall, did you think this was an improvement over season 5, which I remember not really liking too much, and you were a bit more positive on?
Yeah, Rick and Morty's kind of going downhill. The jokes aren't landing. It's not as memorable.
Yep.
I can't really remember a quotable moment in this season that's really stuck with me compared to previous seasons. Die Hard. I'm doing a Die Hard.
Yeah.
I do think there's still a lot of good parts of this show. Maybe it's because they're churning and burning through seasons quite quickly. They're just like, new season, here it is. Instead of maybe taking a bit more time and care with it, which I'd like to see. But I do think as a whole, there hasn't really been a loss of quality in the sense that the animation's gotten better. And I feel like the writing itself has definitely gotten better with most other aspects of it. The humor itself doesn't seem to land as well as it used to. So whether or not it's a change of writing team for the actual jokes, but overall, I don't dislike what Rick and Morty is doing as a whole. I still am enjoying the show, but I have to admit that season 6 was the first time I kind of went, yeah, okay, sure.
I think to me, the biggest downfall was as well the humor that didn't really land. There were a couple of moments where it was just like, let's create awkward energy when no one is saying anything. Because I feel like that's a type of humor that's becoming a bit more popular in recent years. And they don't nail it. And they do it a couple of times where it really doesn't go well. And I really like it when they go with a concept and stay small with it and just go down the rabbit hole and explore it. And they do that, but it somehow feels like really overdone. It's weird that it feels like it's so much Rick and Morty that it's almost like Marvel, where they become its own thing, that it's not fresh anymore. It's weird. I can't really put my finger on what it is, but it doesn't really work. But like then bits are amazing, and then they are just going on for too long. Like I love the superhero stuff, where they just have like really specific storytelling abilities. The meta episode, episode 7, Full Meta Jack Rick, was quite good. Another gripe that I have with the show is that I don't know if they ever made sense, but the fucking titles are obviously just always just some reference, but they have nothing to do with the actual story other than like Night Family or like Jurassic Mort, because it's like, I don't know, it feels really lazy to me, the way that they just have the same thing going. And it feels like outplayed, pretty boring humor. But I mean, I don't know how much we are supposed to look at the title and judge the whole episode by it. But
I lie. I lie. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes. 9 and 10.
Ah, you haven't seen
The Rick in King's Mortar's Mort. Like, I haven't seen that. And Rick Tational Mort Spoon, Rick Mass Mort. I can't pronounce. I've seen
Yeah.
Analyze Piss. That's the last one
Yeah.
that I saw, and I was like, man, this is dark. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen the last 2 episodes. I lie.
There's a bit of a through line through all of them that is kind of just sloppily thrown together, but it feels like it's trying to be this bigger thing about Rick's character and his like growth or not growth. But I just didn't really connect with it. The returning joke in the second to last episode, King of Mortis Mort, is just an extended dick joke. If I'm being honest, it's not really funny. I don't know. I just like a lot of the stuff just didn't land with me, and then they stick like they use it as a returning gag for the entire episode. They got a couple more seasons in the books. I think in what was this, in season 3 or season 4 or maybe even season 2. They ordered 70 more episodes of the show, and they had a goal to release a new season each year. We got one in 2019, 2021, 2022. I assume they're back in 2023 as well, and probably going for another 2, 3, 4 seasons. I don't know how many they've got left of those 70 episodes, but take some more time, man. Take some more time. Put some fresh ideas
Have a break.
in.
Take a year off.
Yeah.
I don't need Rick and Morty every year. I've got plenty of rewatchable Rick and Morty episodes.
I feel like they are definitely trying to have their finger on culture as much as they can. And it feels more like a chase at the moment, where it used to be a bit more about creating or influencing culture. Here it's just like, taking an analyzed piss at it, and not really vibing with it too much. A lot of moments where I just kind of wanted to turn it off because it wasn't really funny. We'll give the new season a watch. Like, I think we're not fully out, right? We won't just
no, God, no.
abandon
I'm
the
still
show.
I'm still in.
Yeah, because there's some great moments in it as well. So that's it for season 6 of Rick and Morty. Lachlan, you've been watching some stuff. You had a really big day the other day, right? You came in and you told me you watched like 4 films a day. Is that right?
I was I just watched 4 films on one day just to impress you, and then I didn't watch anything else because I don't get it was my day off. It was my day off from work, and I decided to just watch movies. So,
see, that's the difference between you. I get a full day of work, and then I watch 4 films. So you can never catch up to me.
Never catch up to you.
Trauma.
Well, okay. To be fair, I watched 9.5 hours of movies on that day.
That's
a lot. It's a lot of movie.
Movie.
It wasn't like I watched a short film like Ewan does. He's like, I watched 6 films today. I'm like, oh yeah, what were they? He was like 10 shorts, and I was like, fuck yeah, that's not a real film.
Train arriving at train station.
Wow, beautiful short film.
Yeah.
So let me talk about the films that I watched. By the way, I gave all of these films basically the exact same score, so who cares about the score? I'm just going to talk about these films because I have to catch up on 2022. A couple of films that released earlier this year, but also when I say earlier this year, only to festivals and then have just come out. So I'm catching up on the big films that I wanted to watch that I think could possibly make it onto my top 10. So Cha Cha Real Smooth was the first one that I watched. It was a beautiful little story, cute little movie on Apple TV Plus. I enjoyed my time with it. I really love Dakota Johnson in everything that she does. This film is directed by the main writer, Cooper Rafe, I think his name is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with this dude, but I just like him. I just like this dude. He's cool.
You gotta watch Shithouse. He's great.
I've heard that's another great one that he's in.
Yeah.
I've really, really enjoyed my time with it. It was just a really fun time, charismatic characters all around, really cute story. And at the end, it was just like heartbreaking, really. And I loved it. So Cha Cha Real Smooth. I don't know if it'll make it onto my top 10 now that I've seen a couple of the other films, but it could just make it on. Other than that, I also caught up on The Fabelmans. Fabelmans obviously is the most Spielberg movie you're ever going to see because it's a Steven Spielberg movie about young Steven Spielberg, written and directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'm not going to spurt out my thoughts because we are going to do a little review on it separately.
Link it right here.
Link it right there.
Oh yeah, you got to do it because you're on the right side of the screen. Yeah, no.
I don't know which side is going to be
your left hand. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's where you find it.
Yeah.
Now look at me forgetting to link it.
Okay.
You just look really silly.
To everyone who was listening to this podcast, I pointed to the top corner of the video. of this box that I'm in.
Yeah. And I'm holding up a mini dragon.
Which one was I talking about? The
You're
Fabelmans.
flying
Yeah,
at me.
Fabelmans.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Possibly the best, if not the best. I'm just gonna say it, the best Spielberg movie of the past decade. Really great film. You should definitely catch it. It's excellent. Ready
Yeah.
Player One is a
Step aside.
I'm not gonna make that joke.
You
I keep making the same
Yeah.
joke. Okay, Ready Player One is a misunderstood masterpiece. Everyone fuck off. The last film I watched was The Banshees of Inishirin. Ewan assured me that this is going to be my favorite film of the year.
Yeah.
It's not. In
What?
fact, it's not even my favorite. In fact, it's not even my favorite Martin McDonough film ever.
Okay. Well,
but
that could be still, could not be your favorite, but still the top of the year.
However, it's not going to be the top of the year. I'm sorry, Ewan. You fucking lied to me. Banshees of Inishirin is really fun though. If you're a fan of cinema and you enjoy good writing, watch Martin McDonagh's films. They are excellent. If you just want to see acting masterclasses, watch these two. This story was wicked. The backdrop of, early 1900s Ireland in the midst of a civil war is gorgeous. It's such a freaking fantastic tale of these two dickheads on this small Irish island. It's such a fun story to watch. So it wasn't my favorite movie of the year, Ewan. I'm sorry to say, even though you guaranteed
Still
it was
Everything
going to be.
Everywhere at Once and After. Where does it rank though? Can you kind of leak a range? You don't have to give me a fixed number yet, but
you want me to give you
what range are we talking about? Is it top 5?
So I would say that it probably is going to be in the top 5.
Right.
For my top 10. Hang on, I'm just pulling out my top 10 list because I did rate it and I can't remember where I put it. There's a possibility that it is in my top 5, but there's also a possibility that it's not. It is a possibility that it's in the bottom 5 of the year.
But does it depend on Babylon maybe, or like a movie that is still set to come out, or?
So for the films that I've still got to watch for this year,
Puss in Boots, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Babylon is as excellent as, well, if Babylon is good, then it could possibly knock it out. If The Whale is good, so the thing is, The Whale's not going to come out till February for me here anyway. So it probably won't make it onto my 2022 top because I'll have my list out by January 1st, or even the first week of January, I probably should say. If Babylon is good, it could possibly get kicked out of my top 5. But also, I haven't seen any of the South Korean movies that I've been wanting to see. Hunt,
Broker, Decision to Leave.
Broker, Decision to Leave. I haven't seen any of those yet.
Right.
So if I'm able to get my hands on those before the end of the year, and one of those is fucking excellent, there's a good chance that it's not going to be in my top 5. It's probably going to be in the top 10 though. Don't you worry. It's definitely going to be in the top 10. Maybe just after, I'd probably slide it just between Black Adam and Morbius. That's where I'd put it.
Yeah, of course. It's got to be. Yeah, Babylon doesn't release until Jan 19th for you as well. So if you are publishing that list before then, it won't make it onto there anyways. But sad that I got that wrong. Sad that I had a wrong call about the enjoyment. But that just goes to show that there were some great films this year, because I think Banshees of Inishirin is excellent. That's also why I can already announce this is going to be the film we'll talk about next week more extensively in spoiler fashion. So stay tuned, go check it out. It's out on VOD, really worth a watch. I'll give it a rewatch as well. And Lachlan, I don't really have catching up to do. I saw like 300 films and from 2022. I've seen like 600 in total. I don't need to catch up on anything, but I still felt the need to go onto Letterboxd, sort by popular, and then see what movies I missed and what movies I still had to see. I made a watch list as well. And what came out is that there was a little Netflix animated film called My Father's Dragon from Cartoon Saloon. They've done some excellent films like Wolf Walkers a couple of years ago. They had a great animated little short that's called Late Afternoon, Song of the Sea. Some great stuff that I think most of it is playing on Netflix as well. This really didn't connect with me. It might be one of those films that sneak their way into the animated top 4 nominated for the Oscars. So that's why I caught up with it. Managed to get my hands on Sam Mendes' Empire of Light as well. Caught up with that through a screener link. And probably should have seen it on the big screen. Didn't look too great. It's Roger Deakins cinematography there. And it's a bit of a miss to me when it comes to Sam Mendes. It's got Olivia Colman there in the lead performance. And it kind of tackles racism and is like her on the outlook through another guy that she falls in love with. And it's also about cinema, an ode to cinema. Not too much of that in there because the central character isn't that connected with cinema. So I don't know. To me, it was like a bit unfocused, also mismatched on who to focus on in that story. Because I felt like Michael Ward's character would have been the more interesting one to focus on. If you are going to complete what your 2022 watch list, Empire of Light is probably on there as well. I sorted by popularity. So films that popped up included Minions, The Rise of Gru, and Lyle, Crocodile. I sat my white ass down and just listened. Listened to fucking Banana and Sam Mendes is singing for like 3 hours. I did them back to back, and it was a horrible experience. I still, it makes me shiver to my core. I still hate the Minions. They're so horrible. It's such a horrible invention to cinema, what they've done to us, how they've influenced the youth into stupid humor. No, it's just straight up bad. Not a movie that I would ever show to any of my kids if I were a parent. And Lila Crocodile is just really odd. It's just Sam Mendes' character, Lyle, the crocodile, is only singing. And that's the crux of the movie, that he can't talk, he can only sing. And it's so fucking funny. It's so dumb, but it's so incredibly funny. So for both of those films, I thought, hey, let's make a drinking game out of this, and we'll actually have a blast. But seeing these raw and sober, it was really depressing. So that was a really bad evening that I had. There's a couple more things that I'll briefly go over. I watched High Fidelity because someone on a podcast just mentioned it. He was having a rough time, and there's a sequence in there where like John Cusack's character just imagines one of his exes having sex with a new partner and how great that guy is, just better at it and everything. And I've never seen this. It's with John Cusack, Jack Black from 2000. I was about to say the early 2000s. It's the earliest of 2000, from 2000, about a record store owner who recounts with 4 war breaks his last 5 breakups and how they've shaped him. And it's just a surprisingly great movie. I really enjoyed it. And then lastly, Harry and Meghan Markle put out a 6-episode docu-series over on Netflix, telling their side of the story to all the drama that happened since she became part of the royal family. I felt like this was a bit of an afterthought after, like, I don't know, it felt a bit thrown together, and some of the stuff was just them talking directly into camera and going, this is when this happened, and this was the moment that it turned, and they say that like 15 times. And it feels a bit repetitive. They're milking it out to be a bit longer than it needs to be. But overall, an interesting look into a family that I think we kind of already knew is fucked up, and how the media portrays them and uses them. It's interesting to hear it from the people influenced. So it's a great showcase of what media can do to the psychology of a person. And for that, I think it's worth a watch. But I don't know if you need to see all 6 episodes for that. Maybe someone who recaps it in some sort of like quicker fashion might be the better way to go. But that's it for what I've been watching. And Lachlan, without further ado, not waiting any more hours or years or a decade plus to watch the sequel, we'll get into Avatar: The Way of Water. Set more than a decade after the events of the first film, learn the story of the Sully family, Jake, Neytiri, and their kids, the trouble that follows them, the lengths they go to keep each other safe, the battles they fight to stay alive, and the tragedies they endure. And a really basic synopsis. I feel like I definitely need to write those myself, but Avatar is this phenomenon that's just never been able to die just because James Cameron has been attached to it. Because other than that, I think we would have gotten a sequel like 10 years ago, because the original is this movie who did almost $3 billion at the box office. We'll get into how well we think this movie is going to do, but so far, the public perception has been pretty amazing so far. On Letterboxd,
Let a
hitting
bong.
that. On Letterboxd, it has a 4.0, on IMDb an 8.1, and on Metacritic a 69.
Nice.
It's directed by James Cameron and comes in at a short little runtime of 190 minutes. Yeah, we are recording this on the Sunday, so we don't even have the weekend opening, weekend box numbers. But for those of you who are, weekly watchers of the Quiet on Set podcast, you might have known that Lachlan and I do have a little bet going into this. With the stakes being that one of our faces is going to be painted blue. We're not going to be able to do it this week, like we said, because we just don't have the numbers yet, and they're a bit inconclusive at this very moment of recording, because it's going to be hopefully close for me. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But we'll just do it next week, which is going to be interesting to talk about Banshees of Inishirin, and one of us is going to be entirely blue. Not looking forward to that. If to get you up to speed, if the movie makes less than 140 million in its opening domestic box office, I lose. If it makes more than that, Lachlan wins, and that's the bet. This movie has been in the works for a long time, and if you couldn't make 3 hours and 10 minutes work for you into your schedule, I'm sorry, but we'll just get into the full-on spoiler thoughts straight away here. We don't want to waste any time to keep you on edge about that. But to jump straight in, Lachlan, do you think it was worth the wait for this sequel?
Yes, I do actually. I am going to be surprisingly positive on Avatar, The Way of Water. It's especially funny since I have been extremely negative on the original Avatar in how it's aged so poorly. And it's unfortunate that I was like that, because I might have to say that Avatar The Way of Water might have been one of my favorite cinema going experiences of the year.
Interesting. So you emphasize the cinema going experience. So what makes that experience so special?
Well, I did it all. I did the reclining seats, Dolby Atmos, massive screen, 3D glasses, 48 frames
6
per
consoles,
second
dog
screening.
cam.
It was it all. I think it was a 48 frames per second screening, mainly because it felt smoother than usual, and I had that inkling that it felt way smoother than normal screening. But should I wear the 3D glasses for the rest of the episode? I think I will. When we're talking about Way of Water, I'll wear the glasses. When we're talking about the original, I'll take them off so people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing.
And then can you put an audio cue for the listeners that I'm taking off, like a
It's like that, like those cheap headsets that when you put them down, it says like sound on, sound off.
Yes,
but
yes,
it's for
yes,
headphones.
exactly.
Yes, okay.
What was your question again?
A cinema going experience. Well, you just
Yes,
listed
that's right.
the stuff
That's
that
right.
makes this film special.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Does your
Go
cinema does your cinema do a break for like a 3-hour plus movie?
No. God, no.
Okay. Interesting.
God, anyone who goes to the movies and doesn't know it's a 3-hour movie and doesn't prepare themselves. I got myself a small drink, and I got no food. So I went the night of the release. I did a 7 p.m. screening, so I got out at around like 10:30, and I had dinner beforehand, so I prepped. I'm a smart movie going guy. I know how to prepare
look at him.
myself
He's
for a
wearing
film.
3D glasses right now.
I don't go to the toilet during a cinema. During a movie. I just prepare. I intake what I need. I don't disperse it until the movie's over. What I'm getting to with this is obviously because funny enough, we're talking about making our top 10 lists, and it's hard to make a top 10 list for me because there are certain films that I enjoy because I love cinema. I love the world of movies because there is so many different types of films. I'm not going to say that Terminator 2 is the same as, like a freaking as The Lighthouse. It's not a comparable thing. They're both movies, but they're both drastically different at what they're trying to do. One is a cinematic masterpiece in the sense that the technical achievement of what it did on a modern day, digital age, that they went back and used certain types of film stock and things like that. The message it's trying to portray and the story it's trying to tell is gorgeous. And then you've got The Lighthouse, which is a piece of shit film. No, and then you've got Terminator 2, which is an action wicked film. You have so much fun enjoying it. It does have a lot of technical achievements for the time. And that's what I had with Avatar: The Way of Water. Less of the technical achievement side of things, because I wasn't impressed by the whole underwater stuff. James Cameron seemed to be really jerking himself off in the sense that he was like, oh, we're changing how we're doing motion capture. We're doing it underwater. There was no need to have your actors go underwater for this film. Like, the fact that they're actors, they can pretend. You don't need to go underwater to do the motion capture if you're seen as underwater. I don't think it was completely necessary. However, in saying that,
I would disagree there.
You would
But
disagree
sorry,
there? Why would you
after you.
disagree?
Yeah.
No, why would you disagree?
Because the motions of doing it underwater, there's resistance there. And if you
Okay.
act like this is different than having to do this underwater. So if
So
they do
my-
stuff, if they shoot it, then it doesn't make
My
sense to me.
counterpoint to that is the motion capture that is done is not just spat onto screen. It's then sent to
Yeah,
animators to have
definitely.
it keyframed and get the little bits of jittery movement out. Those animators are talented enough, I assure you, to be able to do resistance against like things underwater. Even still, sorry, I took the
Yeah.
glasses off accidentally. I'm still talking about Way of the Water.
Audio listeners, beware.
Yeah, God, I'm sorry. That was just like a dun 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 sound because I took them off and on. Sorry. I don't think it's necessary. Anyway, I just didn't think after I came out of the film, I was like, oh, it was just underwater. That's okay, sure. And I wasn't blown away by anything compared to the first film where I was like, wow, this is motion capture is incredible with the faces and everything like that. And I will say that the animation has gotten significantly better. It looks so clean. It looks really cool. I think the animation definitely tops some of the other big motion capture films of recent memory. Even though I think Thanos is great, I don't think Thanos comes in comparison to the facial gestures and emotions that came across in a number of these actors. But what I'm trying to get to with this entire rant, because I'm trying to get back to what I said at the start of this thing, is that I had a great time watching this film because I was entertained from the moment it turned on to about an hour and a half in, and then the whole learning about the tribe situation was a bit and then basically as soon as there's the whole there's a, hang on, this is a great meme. You know the meme in Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, where there's always a bigger fish? From that scene onwards, it was great from there on out. So there's a little gap in this film that's a bit meh, but if you had doubt that the king of sequels, James Cameron, was going to make a mediocre or bad sequel, let me tell you right now, this film, it's like, okay, we've set up the world, we know what we're doing, let's have some fun. Because this film is fun from minute 1 to minute 190.
I think it's just about the same as the first one, if I'm being honest.
Wow, you're a bitch. Really?
It's pretty much the same. Yeah, I didn't really see much improvement.
No.
Maybe I like this a slight bit more. To me, it wasn't that big a difference overall. Yeah. I think to me, what it comes down to is I adored the underwater stuff. I feel like you said, all the tribe moments were just there to showcase that for quite a bit, and it did drag to me there. For me, it was like from the opening shot, I see two brothers, and big spoiler alert, I was like, okay, one of them is going to die by the end of it, and it just plays out exactly how I expect it to be for every single beat in the story. And I was like, well, is this just blockbuster cinema? Have I watched 300 films this year and it's just been too much? Am I like, why? Why is this so obvious to me? And nothing surprises me. I like the look of it. I didn't like the look of the 48 frame, like switching back and forth. It just, to me, it was jarring. I don't like 3D. I think it's a fad. It just go away. And there was a couple of things that hindered my experience where I was like, no, I don't need this. And then the story to me, it was just kind of basic. It just really was pretty much just the same thing that the first one was. Didn't really connect. Not that I'm giving this a bad rating. I think like this is pretty solid, but I didn't like it much more than the first one.
You are really showing your art house fandom here, my friend.
What?
Because
No.
this
Yeah.
is
I also
this
like
is where we're
Alien more than
gonna-
Aliens.
we might burn some bridges here, Ewan. We're gonna burn some bridges this episode.
Yes,
Alright,
let's do
first
it.
of all-
It's like
First of all,
no drama, no
you
conflict.
okay, let's
no
get to
film,
the
podcast.
the water stuff, because you said that you were
Yes.
impressed. How
Wa-
so?
Well, it looks super clean. And it's never been done like this before. I guess that's it. And it's like special as well because he did it on a budget that is, I think, 250 million. And there's other films that cost way more, recent Marvel films, and they look like shit. And this movie looks amazing. I gotta give it that. It just does. And I don't know. I feel in some aspects similar to how I guess The Lion King did some stuff where they were like, okay, let's animate these furry creatures and basically do a National Geographic thing, and then it does that. But what Avatar has over Lion King, well, literally everything, because that movie is shit. Okay, just to say that. But here you got a whole bunch of characters that are here, and obviously, it's Jake Sully is really in the background for most of this film. It's really a story of the children, and they get to explore the underwater scenes along with us, and that part is pretty exciting. And James Cameron really knows how to introduce us to a new world. That's what he's amazing at. And I think that's why the movie shines the most. And it spends a lot of time doing that as well. It knows what it's doing, showcasing this world and highlighting the beautiful aspects of it.
All right, look, I'll
Oh my god!
I'll
the glasses
agree
are
with a
off.
couple of your points. I will agree with a
Yeah.
couple of your points.
Wait, you talking about the original now?
No,
Or
no,
why
no,
the
we're
fuck
talking-
are your glasses
sorry,
off, Lachlan?
Sorry, I
Yeah.
put my glasses back on.
Jesus
I
Christ,
will agree
man.
with a couple of your points. I do think that, look, it's never been done before, and it's impressive.
Yeah,
And I will give James Cameron that. I think that your points on the
Baby.
fact that the story is predictable is and how that can be, I guess, classed as not like a negative thing, but it's he didn't do anything too interesting with the story. I don't think he
Yeah.
has to, though. I don't think that James
No,
Cameron
agreed,
needs
yeah.
to, because as I said, I haven't had so much, because getting back to the same idea where I went and watched this movie to be entertained, and I had a
Mhm.
fucking excellent time. There were explosions, there were bang bang guns, there were spears, there were
Yeah.
no, there was no sex
Whales.
scenes, unfortunately, compared to the first one, so
Yeah.
it lost a star there. However, it did have some really awesome, interesting concepts and mysteries that they were
Well,
pulling around. So let's start with story-wise. Obviously,
Yeah. it's a lot to unpack.
humans returning to the planet of Pandora. Very interesting concept that they all came back to do,
Yeah.
I guess, more of the same, if not, they're now back to save themselves. That's the whole idea, is why
Yeah.
they're back this time, because
I think it's bullshit.
Earth is
though.
dying.
Yeah.
You think it's bullshit?
It's bullshit because the whole rest of the plot is just personal. It's personal. Why do you make this grand thing when it's like it tries to be bigger? Obviously, setting up like however more sequels are coming because more humans are coming. This endless stream of Marines that we still produce to go fight these Navian avatars, and it's just personal, man. It's just Quaritch now with the memories given to him. Not even having like I guess I don't know how far up it goes with the memory that he has, but he's just basically briefed, he killed you, go for this guy. And it tries to make something that is then more personal. Man, that just doesn't really work for me at all. Like the humans in this sort, and I don't know. What did you think about this? To me, it was a bit of a retcon to have Stephen Lang in this franchise again. What did you think about him returning? Because he's like basically the humans returning. It's just Stephen Lang returning.
So obviously we knew that a lot of the cast was coming back. Sam
Yeah,
Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang,
she was a really
and
interesting choice. We'll get
Sigourney
to that
Weaver,
in a
yeah.
second.
But
Yeah.
to have them come back, you have to think, okay, what are they going to do? I think it was smart that they brought back the same characters because, in the same sense that we talked about it, the reason that Avatar is not as culturally in our minds as a lot of other franchises are is because it didn't get a sequel until 13 years later. So half of these characters
Mhm.
people have forgotten about. If they're going to be setting up a 5 movie story arc that takes place with story 1 that came out 13 years ago, you're going to have a refresher with most people because most
Yeah.
people aren't going to sit through the first one. So it makes
Mhm.
sense why they brought them back. They need to reintroduce these characters and why they're the bad guys. But more importantly, it's just a safety net. And
Mhm.
it makes more sense than bringing a whole new big bad into the
Yeah.
picture. I think it's cool how they did it. I also think that the fucking humans landing on the planet sequence was stunning. Like the massive jets spewing fire down onto Pandora and it burning, and then these big suits come out and just like it was an awesome scene, man. And I'm just
Mhm.
sitting there and I'm going, okay, James Cameron, put your pants back on. Get out of my movie cinema, you dirty dog. You're
Get
teasing
out of
me with
my Pandora swamp and make
this
me another Aliens
beautiful
movie, please.
sci-fi masterpiece. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. I was
Yeah.
like, come and make another
Yeah.
Aliens movie. Why are you doing fucking
Please.
Avatar?
Yeah.
But like, I was having a great time watching it because it was just like, it was so entertaining. It was so fun. It was just stupid, dumb fun because it was this big action, big screen sci-fi masterpiece. I was just having a ball of a
Yeah.
time because of it. And I didn't have any hatred towards the story per se because it was easy to follow. It didn't have to make me
I
think and go, I've got to remember
yeah.
this character and that character. I've got to remember this one because I already knew all of them
I
besides the
to
new
to
one.
me it was a bit harder to distinguish between them. So hold up, I'm not a Pandorian racist, but
Blue
between
people
the two brothers, I wasn't entirely sure. But then it really shows you one of them is way more slender and also smaller, and it's the
and
person we
dead.
get to focus on. On no, that's the bigger one, the big
Ah,
brother.
yeah.
But
Well, I'm
what was
saying
I was about
the other one, his features is he's dead.
Yes, if you haven't, well, we did a spoiler warning at the start, but I guess
Yeah,
that's what it
we've done a
comes to that.
spoiler
But
warning.
we know another spoiler warning, and the glasses are off, by the way. For I guess you got
Oh shit!
the signal from for the audio listeners. But to me, it's also interesting that whatever sequel Cameron is doing, he's focusing on parenting. Like Aliens is arguably a story about a mother, and same with T2 is also like protecting the boy in a sense, and it's it's always like that. And here it feels like they're going overdrive on having two stories about like parenting, or like so many stories about parents. And um what did you think about the dynamic that's also not a retcon, but it's a reintroduction to make Stephen Lang's character a bit more nuanced when, well, Stephen Lang 2.0 in blue, a bit more nuanced, having, uh, yeah, the kid spider left behind on the planet, which is
I
like,
probably will
yeah, how does
say
that happen? They just left the
my.
baby
I
and they
mean,
ditched.
he can't go in cryo. He's too young. He won't survive. Makes sense. You just
Yeah,
leave him behind. Because there's going
yeah.
to be humans that stay behind, so he's got that. I would say that Spider is the most confusing aspect to the story for me because I was like, what's the
Mhm.
point? What's the point of him being there?
Yeah.
When they kind of
He's a spider
revealed that,
boy.
oh, he's the son of Quaritch. I went, okay, I
Mhm.
can see that being. Obviously, Quaritch had a personal vendetta, but not really because it's not him, and
Mhm.
he's just obviously trying to get his revenge back. Because for all intents and purposes, that is Quaritch, because
Yeah.
he's a clone essentially, but that he has all the memories, he has the hatred towards Jake Sully and all that jazz,
Mhm.
and I guess he's going
Yeah.
back for revenge. So to now have a kid in the race that is in favor of the Sullys but also has this emotional connection to the main villain. I guess, grew on me over time. But while I was watching the film, I was like, this is an unnecessary plot point.
This is a
It's
big old
basically,
screenplay thing, you know?
yeah, I don't really need him in this film. It doesn't add anything
Yeah.
for me. He ends up being obviously a liability, and also the a son for a son kind of thing at the end. But it's
Mhm.
it, Spider's character is an interesting addition to the lineup, not because he's not Pandorian, but just to the sense that as a new character, he's probably the weakest of them all.
Mhm.
Is from what I found. I just didn't find anything that he did was that interesting. I kind of just wanted his scenes to be over, uh,
Yeah.
because it didn't really add much for me. And I
Mhm.
say that the most boring parts were the scenes where you're learning about the water people. But for me, at the same time, when I'd watch a scene with Spider, and I was like, okay, Spider's just there to move the plot forward. He's
Yeah.
essentially the Deus Ex Spider. He does something to move plot forward.
Mhm.
Okay, we need something done. Get Spider to go do it. Okay,
Deus Ex gets spot in the spider net. Yeah.
exactly. Jake kills the bad guy. Spider saves the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like Spider was like, yeah, I want Spider to be more, because Spider's a cool.
Mhm.
Seems like a cool character anyway, because he's grown up with these Pandorians. He's learned their way. He knows their language. He's like a hybrid that's not blue.
He can hiss a
But
bunch.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I have to put the glasses back on. For a kid that has a glass mask on and takes a bunches of hits, he should be dead at this point, if I'm totally honest. What's
Mhm.
that fucking glass made of? Vibranium? Also, do you think the MCU exists in the Pandora universe?
I was thinking something along those lines in while I was watching. I was like, wait, what movie? No, I was thinking of a movie that can cross over to this in like 2028. But I forgot which one I was thinking of. But no, I probably don't think that. It would be funny that like the by the 2200 something, just the Earth has gone rogue and it's just inhabitable because of whatever happens with superheroes and the villains and stuff like that. It could be a future for the humans because like they come in with really advanced tech and just
Hmm.
Deus Ex Machina for plot stuff as well. It's just like, hey, remember this thing before you did your last mission? I got all of your memories here and I can just give you an avatar body permanently. And that's what we're doing now. And like the way that she comes in introduction on Pandora as they land and it's like, we've done in 1 year what he did in 30 or something like that. It's like, okay, well, that just means a bunch of plot conveniences are going to happen
Yeah.
now. Um, Man, I don't know if I'm just not feeling big blockbusters anymore. But like I've enjoyed some of the big blockbusters that have come out like in the last year. Like I really enjoyed the last Spider-Man film was pretty solid, like Batman this year. But yeah, I don't know. I was also really happy that Sigourney Weaver returned, and I was so surprised at the role that she plays because she plays a younger character, right? She plays her
Hmm.
own daughter well, her own daughter. So she was pregnant in the last one and then died. And then that baby survived.
Yep.
And it's a Pandorian baby. So what did you think
It's the
about that
whole.
choice?
It's a whole like
Identity
Virgin
thing. Where do
Mary,
I fit in?
Virgin Mary, plot point.
Yeah. Yeah, it had
Awaya,
some like Jesus stuff in the beginning.
whatever it is. Awayu. Hang on.
Oh,
What is the god's name?
Ohio Kosamus. Ewa. It's Ewa.
Awa, that's it.
Ewa.
Awa, obviously, as I said, impregnated Grace.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole.
Amazing Grace.
That's who's the daddy. It's Awa.
Who's your daddy?
Thank you.
It's a
Thank you.
tree. It's a.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what, they got those like hair things that then they can link themselves to and bond with some animals that they can ride. And
Yes.
here they got the flying fish or whatever. I wonder what they're going to do next because like I think Cameron can't stay away from not introducing a new region pretty much each film. I would be surprised if we stay with the water people, although by the end of it they say they are water people now. I wouldn't be surprised if like at the start of the next one they just get like all destroyed and then they have to move on to the next thing.
My
How do
prediction
you think?
is
Yeah, sorry,
sand
Echo.
people.
I was, dude. Oh my god! Oh, you connected again. Yes, I thought that like by the sequels that we're getting, by like by Avatar 5, we get a crossover with Dune, and they have to travel to an entirely different planet. They goes to well, I guess they go to Dune, the planet, and then have to cross over. It's a crossover we need with Timothy Chalamet as he becomes more and more like in we and like the blue eyes just extend to the whole body. That's my pitch. Hire me. Because like that would be so great for franchising. Dune and Avatar.
It'd totally work if they were owned by the same production company.
That does not matter. James Cameron goes beyond. You know how he breaks grounds each time he makes a movie? Well, he
He
breaks
breaks
down the
bread
studio system.
with all of the
Yes.
studios.
Exactly.
Yeah, I reckon next movie is going to be Sand People, or maybe something even like Cave People.
Cave
Like
people.
underground cave people.
Mhm.
Because you've had the forest, you've had water. There's not a lot of I guess areas left that you could kind of go
No.
to. So sand, a
Mhm.
desert type area where there's pyramids. Hell yeah, I'm so keen for that. And maybe like a, I don't know, American style place. So like it's a bunch of really advanced Navari people. So there's like Macca's and shit. Macca's is
What do you
McDonald's,
think
by the
they
way.
would? What would you think they would put into like a Macca's burger in the Pandorian world?
Bread?
Big whale oil and just like this yellow sauce that they sprinkle on top.
No. Like they got smartphones and shit. That's how advanced they are.
Right.
This is the
Oh, okay.
advanced people. Yeah.
I mean, you could definitely go with the snow region, making it cold, and then
Oh, I
hear
didn't
how
even
they
think of
shame
snow.
they shame them into having, or you got a small tail, or look at your
Mountain
fucking tails,
people.
so fucking small, and then there they go like, oh, look at you, you don't even have hair or anything, like you're so cold. Look at you,
Ooh.
you're getting
I like
permafrost, so
that.
blue already, and they're just completely look like white blue, even in a lighter shade. Where here it was more like turquoise, more like the water. It's it's funny, like unlocking different skins for Avatar. Do you think we'll get more than just the movies? Is this franchise gonna get even more franchised in a sense where we get a bunch of Lego sets, but also like games and stuff like that?
Well, we are getting a game. There is an Avatar
Yeah.
game in the works.
Right. Okay. Didn't know.
I don't know if we'll ever
Super
get it.
fan
I don't
over
know
here.
if we'll ever get a Avatar TV show. I don't think
Yeah.
that's maybe like an Office style Avatar TV show for the humans.
It's just like the punchline is you can't understand them each time, and they're like on
Yeah.
Pandora, but it's just like an office set, and they take off their masks, and then they just die. They all die, and then it moves on
So
to the next cast.
that's my thought
Yeah,
on the TV, a Pandora TV
I don't think
show.
TV.
Hire
Yeah,
me, Disney. I will
makes
make the
sense here.
Pandora TV show. Yeah. Look, I
Mhm.
I don't think they are, because I feel like this is only going to work on the big screen. As I said, this is one of the
Yeah.
best movie going experiences I've had in a while, at least for this year.
Mhm.
I had a great time in the
Yeah.
cinema, and I think it's made for the big screen. This
Mhm.
entire plot is made for the big screen.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could watch it on my telly. I don't think I could
Mhm.
watch like this thing on my telly, which is why I haven't really rewatched the original Avatar. I rewatched it on my
Mhm.
TV, and I was like, ah, it's good. But I feel like I bring it home and I'll watch it on my, even though I've got a great TV setup, Dolby Atmos, Dolby
Yeah.
Vision, surround sound,
Mhm.
setup. But like I just don't think
Yeah.
it would feel the same. I just don't think it has the same. Well, I'm not watching it in 3D. I don't have the
Mhm.
reclining seats. I don't have the. I mean, I've got the Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision TV, yada yada yada. But I don't have that experience where the people 2 seats down from me were talking the entire fucking time, and that really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Shout out to those losers, because oh god, and the person who didn't turn off their smartwatch in front of me, that pissed me off as well.
Yeah, that
God, I
sounds like an
hate
annoying
the general
experience.
public.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Speaking of them, do you think this movie will make a shit ton of money off the backs of those people?
I feel like this movie is going to make a shit ton of money in China. I
Yeah,
also
it had a
feel
big
like this
opening there
movie.
already. Yeah.
I feel like this movie is going to make a decent amount of money. I really do.
Mhm.
Maybe not as much as the first, But I do think that this movie, because I have a lot of people that I've been speaking to about it, because I'm the first person, I guess, with the group of social friends that I have who have seen
Mhm.
it, and most people are like,
Yeah.
I'm not that interested. And I'm like, no, no, seriously, you should go and watch it. It is a fun time. But
Mhm.
most people are just like, I probably won't. I'll wait for it to come out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I feel like I guess it has shifted here. I feel like this is gonna take a long time until it hits Disney Plus. I would say not before May, maybe even June
Mm,
is my prediction because the last film had such a long time in theaters. I feel like they're probably gonna do the same, especially because January isn't filled that much with other big films. There might be a couple, but not until like March are we getting other really big releases, if I'm not mistaken. So I
mm,
feel like this probably has a really long run in theaters again, and then because it is a 3 hour long movie, I think it definitely will turn some people off to go see it, like in the first place, where 2 hour 40 is a bit. I think the first one was 2 hour and 40 minutes in the theater as well. I don't know if it was actually 3 hours, like the director's cut. I don't think it was
mm.
that in theaters, if I remember correctly. But I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to the first one, which I think is still like a cultural phenomenon, won't be replicated. Where do you think, like, do you think it breaks the top 100? That for sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it comes in at like around place, I don't know, like 30, 25. That would that's what I think where it would end up ultimately. I don't know where that puts it. I'm just saying numbers here. But that's just the I feel like because a lot of people are gonna have the same experience as you had, where they are like surprised by this blockbuster that works for them really well, although it's really long, and it's gonna drive a lot of people into theater seats. And it's just a James Cameron effect. He can do that to people.
Yep.
He can do that with his stories, which you can take away a lot from his movies each time. I can go on about, well, the story being predictable might not be that experience for a lot of other people where they are really engrossed in the story overall, which I find a compelling one. It's just I was a bit let down that I called out everything that what was just like the most obvious thing to happen to me. But if I were to go see it in theaters again, I would take a couple of brewskis, take a bit something, sneak it in to drink, and then drink each time Loak, the younger brother, runs off to I guess go somewhere where he's not supposed to. Because man, that happens so much in this film.
Mm.
Where do you think they'll go with Kiri's character? Because she has shown she has like this force power with
That
Ewa, and
she's
then
Awa. She's Awa. She is part of
yeah,
Awa. She's
is she
Awa's
going to be the
second
last
coming.
Avatar, the last Airbender for real?
She obviously is the question that's going to be running through this entire franchise of
Franchise,
who is
yeah, for
she
sure.
and what is she and why does she have so much power. Also, I just want to fact check something really quickly. Did Jake Sully have 3 fingers in the previous film, or did he have all 5?
What them fingers do? I don't know. I never looked at them. I feel like, don't they have what's it? Did they only show the fingers of like the I guess the inbred, the crossbred
Yeah,
people,
but
and I think they had
I feel like
5, right?
I feel like I remember watching him wake up and in the original Avatar, and he only had like, well, like three
I aren't
fingers
you
and a
thinking of
thumb.
like some alien alien moment? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think his fingers stood out to me, but
I'm fact
maybe I
checking this
just
right
really
now.
wasn't.
Hang on,
Do
I'm
fact check
loading up.
because I got
Hang on,
no
I'm getting
clue.
on Avatar
But
right now because I thought that was a
while
continuity issue and it was really pissing me off.
while you're on that, I think that I'm calling it because I've been predicting this movie while I was watching it quite successfully. I feel like going into 3 and 4, Kiri is going to be the connective tissue that is going to be like between the humans, the sky people, and the Avatar and all of the other races to come together in some kind of symbiosis after they fought for a long time. Because I could definitely see that like there's some sort of coexistence that happens, that like the humans aren't always the antagonist, because I feel like that gets old when you do 4 movies of that. So they're probably gonna introduce some other bat in like 4 or 5, which is so crazy that like you don't have any base for this. You don't have comics. to go by that are just being adapted,
Mm.
but it's all this visionary, artistic vision from Cameron. And yeah, I'm just wondering where it goes down. But I feel like she's gonna be very important in the future, and I'm happy for it because that means we just get
Oop.
more Sigourney Weaver in the future.
Cut
as
it
well.
all out. He had 5 fingers. I don't even want. I don't want
Okay.
people to think I'm bad.
Mr. Free Fingers over here. Lucky that this movie is not Banshees of Inishirin. That's all I'm gonna say. Do you want to talk about the ending or like any other specific moments?
I mean, there's not much. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with this film. There's also not a lot to talk about with this film because I pretty much summed it all up in the sense that I had a fucking entertaining time. That I don't think
Yeah.
this film is. You should. I don't think you should dissect this film and be like, ah, invaders bad. The
What are the
indigenous
narrative
population, we
components
should
to make
protect
this
them.
an
What are the
overall
narrative
exciting
components?
story? Yeah,
The
definitely not.
cinematography
No.
is like it's not that kind of film. It's a film that you're just gonna go and watch and you're gonna have a great fucking time and you just
Yeah.
sit back and enjoy the action because it's James Cameron doing the most James Cameron thing he possibly can do, and it's called making a fucking excellent sequel. So
Yeah, I feel like, James Cameron does that thing where, like you said, the landing of the sky people. It's in other moments like that where the cinematography does stand out in that sense that you don't pay attention to it. It doesn't stand out to you in the moment, uh, because you are really engrossed in the overall world. I think he does that so well. That like you don't pay attention to the score, you don't pay attention to the effects because they're done so solidly. It did feel a bit show offy in moments, but that's totally fine for how excellent they were done. So big props to like especially the water animation. I think if we can speak about something that was truly groundbreaking, is all of the water stuff. Just how difficult it is to animate that. I've watched a few Corridor Digital videos, and from there I can tell that all of the water stuff from the trailer already that they've shown. I can't wait for when this comes out in half a year when they get to break it down in one of the episodes there. But from what I can tell, it's really solid. That's like something hard to do in VFX, and I never noticed anything that was off about it. That's really impressive. But man, the writing in this film is so fucking silly. Like you
It's so
can't
dumb.
give me that at least, please.
I
Like
will give
it
you
opens
it-
with one of the lines, the most dangerous thing of Pandora. The most dangerous thing of Pandora is that you might grow to love her too much. Like it's a fucking
Yes,
silly
I
line.
will give you the fact that the writing in this film is quite dumb. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of stupid lines of dialogue in this film. It gets better. It definitely
Mhm.
does get better. The opening is quite cringy. However,
Yeah.
you cannot deny how fucking sick it was when that whale sees that his mate has been handcuffed to the boat and he gets
Mhm.
all pissed off and starts swimming on the water and then does
That's
a big
yeah.
old flop onto the deck because it was like,
Yeah.
that is sick. That was awesome.
Mhm.
I just had a great time. You know, I didn't expect to go into this film liking it as much as I did. But
Mhm.
now I've come out and I'm just like, this was better than I wanted and expected. So I'm very excited for the sequels. If James Cameron can
Mhm.
keep pumping out high quality sequels like this where they're just entertaining masterpieces, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I think he
Bring
definitely
on the sand
already
people.
shot parts of the third one, or I don't know how far along they are there, but he definitely did that one, and then from there on out, I guess they'll have to see where it takes us. I think the last 40 minutes are the strongest aspect of the sequel to me, and I think Cameron does that well. That like I don't know. To me, it was like okay, I'll forget a bit about the cringy dialogue and just the overlong sequences that I didn't really care for in the first 2/3, but then the final 40 minutes really like got some solid action. I was like, oh damn, he does the ship going down again, and that's just thrilling. He does that super well. That's some of the highlights from Titanic as well, and here it also works. Yeah, it works for me. We haven't even talked about Kate Winslet, which she I guess is the wife, the pregnant wife of the Sea People, and that's she's in there, and it was surprising that she's in there because you can't really tell that It's her.
I had no idea it was Kate Winslet.
Yeah, right. It's really odd that she's in that big a performance, which just makes me think that she'll probably be back in the sequel as well. But yeah, I think that brings us to the end of our review. Let us know what you thought of the film. I'm really curious to see where people land on this film. Like, is it that type of film that people go rewatch as well? Like, does it have a really strong fandom after these many years that it took since the first one? It's really a enigma to me, this whole franchise. But Lachlan, where do you arrive at as a rating for Avatar: The Way of
You're gonna
Water?
hate me. You're gonna want to shoot me / drown me because it's The Way of Water. I'm giving
Yeah.
this film 4 stars out of 5.
Why would no? I think if you would have said like, look, I called Banshees of Inishirin to be your favorite film of the year. I already, early in the episode we went over why that's why I'm wrong there. If you liked this more than Banshees, I would be distraught, but that's totally fine with me. I think a 4 out of 5 is fine. I just give it the same rating as I did with the first one that we talked about last week. To me, it's a
Man,
3
you're
out of
gonna hate
5.
me because I had more fun with Avatar than I did with Banshees.
Oh my. Oh, okay. Well, I think we need to move on to the next segment now.
Oh, you're gonna hate me.
I'm getting choked up. Okay, new releases. New releases out this week, December 23rd. Friday, that's a Friday. The Knives Out sequel, Glass Onion, a Knives Out story, is coming out on Netflix. We'll have a separate review for that sometime this week. And then Bardo, I missed that one last week. The new Inarritu film is out on Netflix as well. If you want to spend another 3 hours watching a movie that is arguably way less exciting, but way more art house, so it should be way more up my alley, but I actually didn't like it at all. That's Bardo. And then the first episode of Harrison Ford's Paramount Plus show, the first TV show he's done in 50 years, premieres, or has premiered. It's out already. Anyways, Lachlan, after your long experience with Avatar: The Way of Water and your insurmountable love that you have for it, where would you send people next? What should they watch this week?
In Avatar: The Way of Water, there is a scene where there is a big fish. However,
Yeah.
that big fish
with big fish
is then defeated by an even bigger fish. So hopefully the meme format of there's always a bigger fish will evolve to this. So I'm going to go all the way back to where the meme originally started. I'm going to recommend Star Wars Episode 1, A Phantom Menace, because there's always a bigger fish.
Okay, is this the moment where you tell me you like a Phantom Menace more than like Empire Strikes Back to completely crush my spirits?
No, I don't like
Okay,
the Phantom Menace
good.
more than Empire Strikes Back.
Great. So you recommend just the meme, so people could rewatch just
I
the
do
scene for
like-
the meme, or the...
I do like The Rise of Skywalker more than The Empire Strikes Back, but I don't like
Anyways,
I want to make a disclaimer. I do not
Yeah?
like The Rise of Skywalker more than The Empire Strikes Back.
No, I think I'll
Jesus.
definitely cut that out so people can. It's out in the universe now.
Fuck you.
It's a bit of payback. No, for me, the pick of the week is the Banshees of Inishirin, because I've lost a friend in recommending this movie to him, and he didn't really like it as much as I hoped he would. So maybe someone in the audience will like it a lot. No, Banshees is out on VOD now, so you can go check it out, and it's a great film. Lachlan had a great time with it as well. Don't speak. You just had a great time with it, okay? Gets the seal of approval from the both of us, and it's a great film to catch up with. We'll talk about it next week, so you come in prepared for our spoiler review. But that brings us to the end of today's show. Like I said, Glass Onion and Banshees are going to be the main topics for the next week. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like these episodes. We do them weekly. We got a whole bunch of other stuff coming out on the channel as well. A bunch of exclusive shorts that we've been producing for YouTube and for TikTok. Go check those out. You can find the socials of me and Lachlan linked below as well. And that's it for this week. Lachlan, one last time, are you ready to take your 3D glasses off, or are they staying on for like until the sequel comes out? Or Class off. Class off. Class off.
Pew.